Hey everybody, welcome back to my Facebook channel. Not Facebook, my YouTube channel. My name is Tamika Collins, and you can reach me on Facebook at Tamika Collins or my TikTok at Coffee, COFUPH, Instagram, Coffee Sings, COFEPHSINGS, all one word. And we are reading the word. Yes, we are, from beginning to the end. And we are in Genesis, starting at the 17th chapter. So a little recap, because it's been a little while. Okay, so in chapter 15, God promises Abraham, Abram, because he's not Abraham yet. So Abram, a son. And so Abram's like, okay, and in my pastor spoke on that this morning too. Wondering like, well, where is this son going to come from if my wife, Sarah, who is not Sarah yet, is barren? So he's wondering like, who am I going to give my things to? You promised me, a generation that I would not be able to count more than the stars. Okay. So, since Sarah is barren, she takes it upon herself to say, hey, why don't I give you my handmaiden, who is Hagar, so that y'all can have a baby together, so that you'll have an heir. Since I can't give that to you, I'll let you have her so she can give that to you, okay? That gift to you. So that's what happens. And they conceive Ishmael. But while Hagar is pregnant still, Sarah is probably feeling some type of way, I'm sure. And she's not treating Hagar very nicely. She's already a slave anyway, a handmaiden. And now she's not being treated nicely. So Hagar runs away. But in her running away, God tells her, hey, I'm going to bless this child. Also, I know what you're going through, but you got to go back. So she goes back. And so here we are, chapter 17. Okay, and it reads as such. Abram is named Abraham. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am El Shaddai, God Almighty. Serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. I will make a covenant with you, by which I will grant to give you countless descendants. Ugh, I can't read today. At this, Abram fell face down on the ground, and God said to him, this is my covenant with you. I will make you the father of a multitude of nations. What's more, I am changing your name. It will no longer be Abram. Instead, you will be called Abraham, for you will be the father of many nations. I will make you extremely fruitful. Your descendants will become many nations, and kings will be among them. I will confirm your covenant with you and your descendants after you from generation to generation. This is the everlasting covenant. I will always be your God and the God of your descendants after you. And I will give you the entire land of Canaan, where you now live as a foreigner. To you and your descendants, it will be their possession forever, and I will be their God. All right. Then God said to Abraham, your responsibility is to obey the terms of the covenant. You and all your descendants have this continual responsibility. This is the covenant that you and your descendants must keep. Each male among you must be circumcised. You must cut off the flesh of your foreskin as a sign of the covenant between me and you. From generation to generation, every male child must be circumcised on the 8th day by his birth. This applies not only the members of your family, but also to the servants born in your house and the foreign-born servants whom you have purchased. Okay, so slaves been around for a long time, okay? All must be circumcised. Nothing new in the sun. Your bodies will bear the mark of my everlasting covenant. Any male who fails to be circumcised will be cut off from the covenant family for breaking the covenant. Sarai's name Sarah. Then God said to Abraham regarding Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai. From now on, her name will be Sarah, and I will bless her and give you a son for her. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. Kings of nations will be among her descendants. Then Abraham bowed down to God to the ground, but he laughed to himself in disbelief. How could I become a father at the age of 100? He thought. And how can Sarah have a baby when she is 90 years old? So Abraham said to God, may Ishmael live under your special blessing. May Ishmael live under your special blessing. But God replied, no, Sarah, your wife, will give birth to a son for you. You will name him Isaac, and I will confirm my covenant with him and his descendants as an everlasting covenant. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked. I will make him extremely fruitful and multiply his descendants. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will be confirmed with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year. When God had finished speaking to Abraham, he left Abraham. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and every male in his household, including those born there and those he had bought. Then he circumcised them, cutting off their foreskins, just as God had told them. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and Ishmael his son was 13. Both Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised on the same day, along with all the other men and boys of the household, whether they were born there or bought as servants. All were circumcised with him. Ooh, that's a lot of circumcision. I'm sorry, I'm trying to see what my time looked like, okay? We're going to try to do 18. Sodom and Gomorrah. The son is promised to Sarah. The Lord appeared again to Abraham near the oak grove belonging in Mamre. One day Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and noticed 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran to meet them and welcomed them, bowing low to the ground. My Lord, he said, if it pleases you, stop here for a while. Rest in the shade of this tree while water is brought to wash your feet. And since you honor your servant with your visit, let me prepare some food to refresh you before you continue on your journey. All right, they said, do as you have said. So Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, hurry, get 3 large measures of your best flour, knead it into dough, and bake some bread. Then Abraham ran out to the herd and chose a tender calf and gave it to his servant, who quickly prepared it. When the food was ready, Abraham took some yogurt and milk and the roasted meat, and he served it to the men. As they ate, Abraham waited on them in the shade of the trees. Where is Sarah, your wife? The visitors asked. She's inside the tent, Abraham replied. Then one of them said, I will return to you about this time next year, and your wife Sarah will have a son. Sarah was listening to the conversation from the tent. Abraham and Sarah were both very old in their age, and Sarah was long past the age of having children. So she laughed silently to herself and said, how could a worn-out woman like me enjoy such pleasure? Especially when my master, my husband, is also so old. Then the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah was afraid, so she denied it, saying, I didn't laugh. But the Lord said, no, you did laugh. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. Then the men got up from their meal and looked out toward Sodom as they left. Abraham went to them to send them on their way. Should I hide my plan from Abraham? The Lord said, for Abraham will certainly become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I have singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their families to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. Then I will do for Abraham all that I have promised. So the Lord told Abraham, I have heard a great outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah because their sin is so flagrant. I am going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I have heard. If not, I want to know. The other men turned towards Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham. Abraham approached him and said, will you sweep away both the righteous and the wicked? Suppose you find 50 righteous people there living in the city. Will you still sweep it away and not spare it for their sakes? Surely you wouldn't do such a thing, destroying the righteous along with the wicked. Why, you would be treating the righteous and the wicked exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth do what is right? And the Lord replied, if I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the entire city for their sake. Then Abraham spoke again. Since I have begun, let me speak further to my Lord. Even though I am but dust and ashes, suppose there are only 45 righteous people rather than 50. Will you destroy the whole city for the lack of 5? And the Lord said, I will not destroy it if I find 45 righteous people there. Then Abraham pressed his request further. Suppose there are only 40. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it for the sake of the 40. Please don't be angry, my Lord, Abraham pleaded. Let me speak. Suppose only 30 righteous people are found. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it if I find 30. Then Abraham said, since I have dared to speak to the Lord, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20. And the Lord replied, then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. Finally, Abraham said, Lord, please don't be angry with me if I speak one more time. Suppose only 10 are found there. And the Lord replied, then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 10. When the Lord had finished his conversation with Abraham, he went on his way, and Abraham returned to his tent. Suppose. But hey, that's how we petition with God. We give him his word back. He gives us his word. And, he is our Father. So we can have that conversation with him, and do it in love because he's doing it in love, whether we like his answer or not. Amen. I hope y'all have a great day. I do plan on coming back later after this post, and we'll get into chapter 19, okay? All right, y'all have a good one. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Have a good night.